Today it's the ultimate frozen margarita showdown. I'll be making 3 frozen margaritas, starting with the Margarita Man Margarita mix, Costco's Kirkland Signature Gold Margarita, and finally, I am sharing my own frozen margarita using fresh lime juice, Cointreau, and Tequila. This is a slight update to a frozen margarita recipe that I first shared last summer, and a recipe that should work better in the Ninja Slushie machine compared to some other recipes out there, so fingers crossed on that. Since I happen to have a few Slushie machines, I'm going to make all 3 at once. I will be using my original Ninja that I bought last year, my all-new Ninja from Costco, and this machine, the EcoViva. I did a longer review of the newer Ninja on my main channel, but the spoiler alert here is it's bigger and basically exactly the same. This will be my first time trying the margarita version of the Margarita Man mixes, and coming up this summer, I'm going to try and test all of these. I just received about a dozen of them in the mail, and I want to go through each one of them while it's still summertime. So far, I've enjoyed the ones that I've tried, and they're super easy to make. There's also links in this episode's description if you're interested in buying these, and there's also a code for you to save 15% off. And if you buy in multiples of 6, you'll get free shipping. Now for these mixes, I'm just going to follow the directions on the bottle. I believe the Margarita Man is going to be about 6 to 7% ABV. You could bump that up, but just for the sake of keeping things simple, I'm following the directions that you're going to find on the label. Now those directions are to use an entire bottle, which I think most of us don't want to do. But in this description, I'll include a link to my website where I break down each and every Margarita Man mix that I have, and I scale those recipes down for the Ninja Slushie machine. So I'll give you versions for 32 ounces and 64 ounces, which is the full batch in this machine. The Kirkland Golden Margarita will probably not work, or at least not work well, in the Ninja machines because it's 12.7% ABV and it's around 8 to 10% sugar, at least I think it is. I don't know exactly, I couldn't really find the nutritional labels online, and since this contains alcohol and a fair amount of acidity, I can't use a refractometer to test the sugar. But since I don't want to water it down or change anything, I'm just going to be using the EcoViva machine, which I know gets colder than the Ninja, so that should be able to slush something that's like 12 to 13% alcohol. For my own margarita, it's fairly simple. It's lime juice, some sugar, Cointreau, and a Blanco tequila. The final ABV will be 11% and will be about 10% sugar by weight. Recipes will be in this episode's description, so let's get going, and I'm going to make all 3 of them at the same time and then try them side by side. If you're like me and you know you won't use all of this mix, then you want to save it. And you can put this in your fridge and you could continue to use this for a couple months, but I probably wouldn't use that much either. So I found these smaller juice bottles on Amazon. They're 16 ounces, they're plastic, and they're square. And I have enough left to fill up about 3 of these bottles. I'm going to take 2 of these, stick them in my freezer, and take the other one, stick it in my fridge. What's nice is that these are just smaller and they're square, so they stack up nicely. You can put a bunch of them in your freezer. I'm going to be doing this to all the extra margarita mixes I have that I like. That way, if I need a little bit, I can pull it from the freezer and just have pretty much an endless supply of this mix. All right, they all worked well. They all slushed. The one with the EcoViva slushed the best. That's actually the highest ABV as well. That machine just gets colder than the other one, so it can do a better slush. If you're interested in that machine or one similar to it, I'll leave links in this episode's description if you want to check them out. Next to that one, it was the Margarita Man mix, which should slush well. It's only about 7% ABV. And then finally, my recipe. Technically it's slush, but it's on the borderline there. So let's start with the Margarita Man mix, which is the lowest ABV. Cheers. My experience so far with them, they have a very similar through line through the ones that I've had, because we're not using fresh juice. So there's some type of acid mix in there, and you can taste that. I think it still tastes good. It tastes like a frozen margarita you would get from a margarita machine. I used some decent tequila for this. And while there's not much of it in here, I also did use Cointreau, so I didn't skimp on using kind of higher quality ingredients. I'm gonna rate each one of these a number, and then you can kind of get an idea for how I feel about it, but I'm gonna wait until I go through them all first. So let's go to mine next. Cheers. It's almost like there's a purity of the flavor there with like a real like fresh lime flavor with the tequila, with the Cointreau. It tastes like a margarita. It tastes like a blender margarita that you would make at home. And it has a nice consistency, even though it didn't slush as much as the other ones. It's still a good consistency. But overall, it's not like it's 10 times better than the mix. It's just different. I think it's better, but it's not as much of a step up as I thought. And I don't really think we can make a better fresh one than this. I mean, it's lime juice, Cointreau, and a good 100% agave non-additive tequila. Finally, the Kirkland Signature Gold Margarita mix. Cheers. It's a lot colder. It's actually colder. More ice and colder ice. It has a flavor to it that I feel more familiarity towards frozen drink machines with this flavor than with this flavor. There is something in there, for better or worse, that it feels like Jose Cuervo margarita that you would get from a Mexican restaurant that you love it, but it's not really like high quality stuff. I know some people love that Costco Gold Margarita mix. I used to like it a lot. I've over the last 10 years don't love it as much. It's not bad though. It's just not near as the same flavors as this one, and then it's somehow so much more different than the Margarita Man mix. There's just a flavor in here that you're either going to love or you are going to hate, and I haven't figured out yet if I love it or hate it. It's tricky. It's just something is different in there. All right, for the ratings, 72 for the Margarita Man mix, 90 for my recipe, and then a 68 for the Costco Gold Margarita mix. It's not bad. It's not great. There's just something in there that I don't know. I can't really wrap my fingers around. And I think the Margarita Man mix, it doesn't feel like a pure margarita. I just kind of like the flavor that it has. It has the similar flavor that the other Margarita Man mixes have, and I just kind of like that. So there you go, 3 different versions of a margarita for 3 different slushy machines. And the good thing is, I think if you go down any route here, you're probably only going to do that one and not 3, and you won't really know any better. I think you'll like whatever you decide to do. So there's some economical things here, there's some easy things, and then you kind of have like as fresh and homemade and craft as you can possibly do with the recipe that I shared. But I think that no matter what happens, if someone hands you one of these, that you will enjoy it. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like below, consider subscribing to the channel. If you want to support this channel more, check out my Patreon page, and otherwise I'll see you on the next one.